Here's a fun little geography quiz for you. Where is Kansas City located? If you said Kansas, well, you're only half right. The big Kansas City, the one with all the sports teams, the famous barbecue, and most of the people, is actually in Missouri. Yeah, Kansas City, Missouri. Which sounds like a bad punchline, but it's real. So, why on earth is Kansas City not in Kansas? Stick with me because this story takes us through state rivalries, rivers as borders, and even a bit of political drama. You'd think naming a city Kansas City would be simple, right? Like New York City, New York. But no. Instead, we ended up with two Kansas cities, one in Kansas and one in Missouri, sitting right next to each other, like estranged siblings. So, here's the big question. How did Missouri claim Kansas City before Kansas even had a chance? To understand this, we have to rewind to the early 1800s. Missouri became a state way back in 1821. Kansas, it wouldn't even officially exist as a state until 1861, 40 years later. In those 4 decades, Missouri had a huge head start. Traders, settlers, and river traffic were all flowing along the Missouri River, which was basically the interstate highway of its day. And right where the Kansas River meets the Missouri River, settlers saw opportunity. In 1838, a small town called Westport popped up in Missouri. By 1850, developers laid out a new town nearby, Kansas. Yep, before Kansas, the state was even on the map, there was already a Missouri town called Kansas, named after the Kansas Native American tribe and the Kansas River. And when it got incorporated in 1853, they decided to really lock it in with the name City of Kansas. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Kansas Territory was created in 1854, and suddenly, there's this awkward situation. Missouri already had a city called Kansas, sitting right on the border of what was about to become Kansas Territory. Imagine being Kansas. Hey, we just showed up, and our neighbor already stole our name. And this wasn't just some casual neighborly rivalry. Kansas City and Missouri were bitter enemies. This was the era of Bleeding Kansas, violent clashes over whether Kansas would join the Union as a free state or a slave state. Missouri was a slave state. Kansas was pushing free. The border between them became a literal battleground. So, politically, Missouri wasn't about to let go of its shiny new Kansas City. In fact, doubling down was almost a flex. By the time Kansas officially became a state in 1861, City of Kansas in Missouri was already a growing hub. Railroads were coming in, river trade was booming, and the city was thriving. But here's the kicker. In 1889, City of Kansas officially changed its name to Kansas City. By then, Kansas City, Missouri was already a big deal. Kansas, the state, eventually built its own Kansas City across the river, but it was smaller, younger, and basically overshadowed by the Missouri side. So, today, when you hear Kansas City, most people mean Missouri, not Kansas. So, let's put it all together. Missouri became a state decades before Kansas. Missouri settlers named the city after the Kansas River and tribe, long before Kansas was even a state. The location, right at the confluence of 2 major rivers, made it the perfect hub for trade and expansion. By the time Kansas showed up, Missouri had already staked the claim and refused to give it up, especially during their bitter political feud. Basically, Kansas City ended up in Missouri because Missouri just got there first, and then history, geography, and rivalry cemented it. So, next time someone asks, why is Kansas City in Missouri and not in Kansas? You've got the answer. It's all about timing, rivers, and a dash of state rivalry. And honestly, it makes for one of the quirkiest geography facts in the US. Now, I want to know, did you already know this, or is this news to you? Drop a comment. I'd love to hear what surprised you the most. And hey, if you enjoyed this little dive into history and geography, hit that like button and subscribe for more stories that make the world a little less confusing. Because, trust me, there are plenty more where this came from.